Mr. Shakeel Mohamed.
Madam Speaker, I have listened very carefully to Honorable Kunju. And the Honorable Minister has been very careful not to even tell us how many jobs they have created ever since he's minister in his sector.
Don't reply now. It's not question time.
In question time, he doesn't answer. When it's not question time, he answers. What I do recall, however, having listened to him and having heard him make such great comments, boasting, if I may say, about the ability of his ministry and him at the helm of it, what I do recall is, in fact, the Honorable Minister Mentor, who, in his speech on the 22nd of August 2015 for the 2030 vision, said very interesting things. He said that there would be 100,000 jobs created. And out of those 100,000 jobs over 5 years, he did say there would be 25,000 jobs in the ocean economy. 25,000 over 5 years. Now, the Honorable Minister has tried to, thinking it was a parliamentary question that he had to answer, interject and say he has created jobs, 3,000. If he has only created 3,000 jobs in 4 years, and the Honorable Minister Mentor said that what he should have created is 25, if we were to grade him from A to F, I don't think he would really pass the stage of F. And F, for me, means fail. Because where are the 25,000? He owes, in other words, 22,000 jobs to the country. 22,000 jobs, that's what he owes. And he goes on to say, Madam Speaker, that he's such a great minister. Maybe he's the greatest minister of ocean economy that we've seen. This is what he tries to portray. This is the impression I have, and this is what I'm saying, and this is what I maintain. This is the impression he gives us. This is the impression he gives us.
Honorable Mohamed, I think every honorable member has to be moderate in what we say. I would appeal to you to be a little bit moderate.
Whenever I say something that hurts, I'll try to moderate the hurt. I will try to moderate the short-term pain that you will go through, the government, because it will be long-term gain for us. And what I'm trying to say to him is that if he portrays himself as having done such an amazing job, maybe he's forgotten something else altogether, apart from the 22,000 jobs that he owes us, owes the country, owes Mauritians. And I don't see the Honorable Minister Mentor standing up and telling him, where are the 22,000 jobs? Oh no, he will sit down, laugh, not try to answer questions, and he'll keep quiet and continue tolerating the incompetence of someone who owes 22,000 jobs. But let me say something else to him. What about the Maritime Labour Convention? The Maritime Labour Convention is a convention that we have ratified, adhered to ever since 2013. We were obliged within 2 years, in 2015, to be able to amend our laws to ensure that we would apply the Maritime Labour Convention. The Honourable Minister does not even know what it is. It is his ministry that is responsible for it, Madam Speaker. What was the purpose of the Maritime Labour Convention? Was to help Mauritian seafarers, workers, to have better conditions of work for recruitment and for their life when they are on board, for less money to be paid to recruitment agencies, the elimination of commissions to be paid to recruitment agencies, and for better occupation safety and health conditions on board for seafarers and seamen and fishermen. But then this amazingly able minister does not even know that he had at least to do something with regards to the Maritime Labour Convention, but he will not even comment on it. He will not even be able to interject on it. He will not even be able to ask me to give way on it because he knows nothing about it, and he will stick his face in Le Mauricien newspaper. But then again, The Speaker in the United Kingdom, I recall, at one time said to the ministers who were sitting down that Parliament is not a place where you stick your face in a paper. Either when you've just sat down, you made a speech, you listen to the speech that's being made, but not to read a newspaper. This is unparliamentary. But then again, that was the United Kingdom, House of Commons. So let me try to moderate my speech and say something else.
No. I'm sorry, Honorable Mohamed.
Yes?
Did you want to give me instructions and say what I should have done?
This is the impression you got. That was never my intention.
No. Was it so or not?
I'm sorry that you felt so.
Okay, thank you.
I do not know why you feel that.
Thank you.
For God's sake. Let me go to another important matter which really is of utmost importance, and I'd like to make a comment about it, and it's the following. Some would say it's got nothing to do with the budget. But I think it's of utmost importance for us to stop hypocrisy. And that I will not moderate, Madam Speaker. A child of 13 years died. A child of 13 years. And we were shocked to hear that this child of 13 years was married at 13 years. Not only was she married at 13 years, she was pregnant at the age of 13. And that child is now dead. For many, many years, we have been very careful not to comment. Politicians have been very careful not to comment on this issue for fear that they would be harming the feelings of a certain community that go into religious marriages. Let me say it very clearly. We should all condemn any marriage for any child, any girl below the age of not 16 but 18. Enough is enough. We should ensure that marriages should be allowed from the age of 18, and this thing about allowing marriages below the age of 18 should stop. To those that say it is my religious right to marry below the age of 18, I tell them this is not what you shall have to abide by. I say to them that they should ensure that the law of the country should be one law, and the law should apply to everyone, and one should not use the excuse of religious appartenance. We are Mauritians, and we should not tolerate such a thing. Let it be clear once and for all. What about this person who has committed the crime of marrying someone of 13? What about this boy who has committed the crime of fathering a child with a girl of 13? What about the priest who carried out this marriage? What about the parents on both sides that tolerated such a state of affairs? Why is it that the police has not arrested anyone as yet? Is it because the government wants to play politics with it? Not to offend the feelings of a certain community? And I say it out loud. You cannot play politics with the life of a child of 13. People should be arrested. And if it is a priest who allowed a marriage of 13, this means he tolerated sexual intercourse with a girl of 13. He opened the doors to a crime, and he should be arrested, and he should be punished for it. This cannot be tolerated. But the same government that could not even make a comment from the Honorable Prime Minister when there was the LGBT manifestation. He could not even take a position until today. Stand up and say, what is he? Is he for the walk, or people are not allowed to walk? Was he against the unlawful manifestation, or was he for it? Or maybe the best thing to do is to sit on the fence and not offend anyone. I am for only one rule. The rule is very simple. Mauritians are entitled to, if they comply with the law, to carry out a manifestation, whether you like it or not. That is said. That is simple. However, what's so even more shocking is that the police, whose responsibility what Mr. Mentor has, they don't even up to now have bothered to find out who is the one who has made blasphemous remarks about supposedly Allah is gay. This was what is on the internet. When it comes to finding out who has offended the Prime Minister, rapid to be arrested. When it comes to finding out who has offended Honorable Sudan, in jail he goes. When it comes to finding out offending anyone from the side of government, quickly the Central CID comes into action, rapidly arrested, provisional information. But when it comes to this, nothing is done by the police. Apart from tergiverser, yes, you can do la manifestation, no, you can't. Yes, you can, no, you can't. Yes, you can, no, you can't. This is l'amateurisme led by this government under the responsibility of Honorable Minister Mentor. And he is the very same person spin doctoring, saying that there would be 100,000 jobs created. On average, Madam Speaker, the number of jobs that have been created is how much? How many? 4,700 jobs on average a year ever since they've been on power. You want to be exact? 4,733 jobs a year ever since they've been in power. Where are the 100,000 jobs? How many people have lost their jobs? We don't hear that. Honorable Kunju talks about the number of jobs they've created in huge manufacturing companies. Let's be serious. Let's look at something else, Madam Speaker. I was looking at this very interesting document, which is what? Manifesto of Gouvernement Le Peuple. Manifesto. Les PIP. It doesn't even exist, that les PIP anymore. I mean, le deuxième miracle économique dont il parlait, le ministre des Finances d'alors n'est plus, le Premier ministre n'est plus Premier ministre, le Deputy Prime Minister d'alors est maintenant chef de l'opposition. C'est le gouvernement Les PIP dénaturé de 2018, 2.0 or whatever you want to call it, but the zero is something which I can see coming up more and more often. Zero as having totally failed in what they had said they would do. Let's look at the first paragraph. They say, gouverner pour le peuple avec le peuple. Nous, notre contrat de confiance avec la population en 12 commandements, the 12 commandments. 12 commandments, etched in stone, I thought. Nous gouvernerons pour le peuple, avec le peuple et dans l'intérêt de toute la nation, pas pour nous, ni pour un petit groupe d'amis, d'agents politiques. Oh, really? Oh, yes, they said it. Nous, and I say it again, nous gouvernerons dans l'intérêt de la population, pas pour nous. They said, if they don't understand it, it means pas pour nous. Same thing in French if you don't understand the French part. Not for us. Not for members of the MSM, not for family members of the MSM, not for the family and relatives of ministers and members of parliament, not for political agents. And I see Honorable Kunju smiling. Is he thinking of a family member? Is he thinking of a family member? Should I look around the house and see whether there is any other minister smiling because he feels that we have touched him? Is the Honorable Deputy Speaker smiling there or grinning because he's thinking of a family member? Is he? Or is he not? I don't know. Or maybe he's laughing at me, correct? And maybe you are sticking your face into the newspaper because you can't even show it. Shame on those who wrote those words and went to sell it to the people out there. They said, what did they say again? Nous allons créer des emplois tant dans le secteur public que dans le privé, en préparant aux frais de l'État les jeunes diplômés selon les compétences requises pour le marché du travail. Nous comptons adopter une politique d'embauche fondée sur l'ouverture, la transparence et le mérite. But is it, Madam Speaker, that c'est juste les membres du MSM and their relatives qui ont le mérite? Is it not bizarre that I have the impression is that only members of the MSM and Mouvement Libérateur, who carré have the merit, whereas all the other people of this country, they do not have any merit? Is it what? Sons of ministers and daughters, they are the ones who have the chances to be nominated in positions of power? But then what they're going to say to me, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, well, as Honorable Kunju said, what did you do when you went power? Now that's such an intelligent remark. What did you do? I did nothing. In fact, if we were to listen to them, we did nothing. We did nothing. In fact, the country stopped existing since 2005. Do you know what? There was nothing happening in the country in 2005. And 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it only started functioning again when Honorable Pravin Jagnnath, nay, when they had the blessing of Honorable Minister Mentor for the alliance with the Labour Party, then it started functioning again. Then the clock started functioning again. Thank you. I have another 30 minutes. Thank you, Aganu. Now, can you imagine? It started functioning again. All of a sudden, the clock stopped in 2005. It stopped. And it started ticking again. Please, sit down. Do not go. I still haven't finished with you. I just started. And it's going to be quite brutal. So it started functioning again in 2010. But then again, as soon as the alliance broke, the country stopped again. It stopped. Nothing was happening. What did he say? What did he say?
Mentioned that you're better. He has to be called.
Can you call back and ask him to withdraw?
That's right.
No, but he cannot withdraw. He was not in
No,
his
no, no, no.
seat.
Nothing?
I'm sorry.
You have a right.
No, I am now. No. This is not. I'm sorry. When somebody, please sit down. When somebody makes a remark from his seat, I can order him to withdraw. He wasn't in his seat. How can I know? I can't order him to withdraw.
So, Madam Speaker, let everyone know. Later on, when I finish speaking, I'll start moving out and make a remark against you. Then say nothing?
Several times you've made it,
Never,
Honorable,
never,
Mohamed.
never.
Several times
I
members
always-
of the opposition have made it. When I have ordered people out in this room, when I have ordered people out, they've said all sorts of things when they move out. And I haven't been able to tell them anything, right? Sorry?
I'm asking you to please don't eat.
No, I have time to intervene. And I have the right to intervene. Right? Please proceed.
Wow, that is a new rule.
People say, they do say. Right? Please. No, Honorable, I am sorry. Now, from a sitting position, Honorable Béranger is saying that when we walk out, can we say anything? Let me say for the benefit of all honorable members of this House what I have observed when I have ordered people out of this room. When I have ordered people out of this room, the numerous remarks that I have seen that they have made to my address, and they have made personal remarks to my address, and I haven't said anything. So it wasn't made from a sitting position. I have ruled out. This is final.
Thank you. Even members of government are sympathizing with me. I thank them for that. Madam Speaker, and when I read, it says here, nous libérons.
Honorable Ratna, please. Don't make provocations.
Madam Speaker, it says,
Order, please. Order. Honorable Ratna. Honorable Ratna. Honorable Ratna, please. Please. Order. Please proceed. Honorable Mohamed.
Honorable Ratna should make the comments when he's walking out. Then it will be okay. Oh, I know. You'll know. Nous ferons preuve d'innovation, it says. And it goes on to say, nous libérerons notre société de l'emprise d'une corruption généralisée. You have an advisor, as Honorable Bhagwan rightly said yesterday, in the Prime Minister's office who is charged with corruption. And he says, nous libérerons notre société de l'emprise d'une corruption généralisée. And someone has an emprise on the Prime Minister's office, and he's got a charge of corruption and he's facing trial, and nous libérerons de l'emprise d'une corruption généralisée. Du favoritisme. Do they understand what favoritisme means? Du népotisme. Isn't it when family members are recruited, it's nepotism? I recall, and I'll say it, I recall when I became minister, and I let this go for posterity. When I became minister, I had Honorable Sudan give me a call. He proposed to me that he wanted to make my brother chairman of State Trading Corporation. Immediately, I recall that in my arms, I had my son, who was only a few months old. I was a proud father, and I looked at my son, heard Honorable Sudan talk to me, and I said to him, never, no. And he said, why? He's a good boy. I said, he's a fantastic boy, not only a good boy, he's a good man, but no. And he said, why? And I said, because precisely, he's my brother, and I'm minister in that government. I called the Prime Minister of the day then, at 11:30 at night, and I said to him, if ever anyone from MSM tries to say that, please refuse, otherwise I will have to resign, because I do not accept, because I will not be able to approve something like that if cabinet goes through it. And I said no. Whereas here in this government, they put in this manifesto, there will be no nepotism, there will be no favoritism, it will not be for friends of ours, it will not be for family members, it will not be for girlfriends, it will not be for boyfriends. Well, let's make things equal now.
Gender parity.
Gender parity. Will not in any way, be it from the front door or the back door, allow anything wrong to happen. And what have we seen? What have we seen? We have seen members of this assembly having their sons, daughters, nephews, nieces, political agents, polluting every parastatal body, ministries, getting promotions, all this. And then they would say, well, what are you doing when you were in power? When I was in power, this is what I said to Honorable Sudan. Because I had been informed and I said no. This is what I believe in. But it's not an excuse à chaque fois de venir dire, mais quand vous étiez au pouvoir, qu'est-ce que vous avez fait? Ça veut dire quoi alors? Ça veut dire que si il y a des erreurs qui ont été commises à cette époque, des erreurs qui ont été commises à l'époque, ça veut dire que ça donne le droit à ce gouvernement de continuer les mêmes bêtises. Et non seulement cela, mais de faire des choses encore plus pires. Est-ce que la population n'avait pas choisi ce gouvernement précisément pour faire en sorte, et pour faire de sorte que les erreurs du passé allaient être corrigées, pour faire de sorte que les mêmes erreurs will not be repeated? But they seem to have forgotten that. So they come with the lamest of excuses. It shows the intelligence in the argument. It shows the ability to debate. When you were in power, why didn't you do it? And that's all they can come up with. Yes, we are the ones who have guilty for the worst of offenses. Let's be it. Let's call it now. Done. Done. We've admitted it. What are you doing? You are in power. What have you done to change? Nothing. And then when I read, nous allons construire 2000 unités de logement chaque année. Chaque année, 2000 unités de logement depuis qu'ils sont au pouvoir. Si on enlève tous les projets que le gouvernement précédent du Parti Travailliste, quand nous on a été au pouvoir, et le PMSD pendant un certain moment, quand nous on avait commencé nos projets, on enlève tout cela, ils ont construit peut-être 200 maisons. 2000 maisons par an décèdent. Chaque année. And then they go on to say, redonner à l'ICAC et à la police leur indépendance opérationnelle. Are you serious? Are they? Leur indépendance opérationnelle. Do they understand what independence means? Or do they understand what opérationnel means? When you have a minister mentor day in and day out just defending the Commissioner of Police, who does not even have the independence of mind to even take position against the Commissioner of Police if the Commissioner of Police has done something wrong. But no, he will act as a wall there to protect, defend, tolerate. In Creole, we say soutirer, what the Commissioner of Police does. And they talk about independence, operational independence. All those who have been arrested, remember? But then they'll say, well, what about those who were arrested when Ramgoolam was Prime Minister? But is that a defense? It means that because people were arrested at the time that Ramgoolam was Prime Minister, and if it is the case that they were arrested wrongly so, I do not know. Of course it's wrong. But it means that they are entitled to do it now. What have they done to change things? And then we promise we were going to stop betting. Nations Ougadées, nous pour arrêter. L'autotech, deuxième tirage chaque semaine Des fois par semaine. So not only do we become Nations Ougadère, but twice. You know? Now if that is, yes, if they've improved somewhere, they've done it. Nous vîmes des fois plus Ougadère. And what about the promises? And then Honorable Minister Mento goes on to say, what? Financial services, 15,000 jobs. They will be created in 5 years. Education and knowledge sector, 3,000 jobs. Tourism, 8,000 jobs. Construction and property development, 15,000 jobs. Logistics, 3,000 jobs. C'est trop facile de venir dire, il y aura ça, il y aura ça, il y aura ça, il y aura ça. But at the end of the day, let's check, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? But then they will say, mais qu'est-ce que vous avez fait, vous? Oh, well, that is a very intelligent defense once again. I'm not the one who's in government, you are. You are the one who made the statement, I didn't. You are the one who pledged, I didn't. You are the one who violated your promise, I didn't. You are the one who came and called all the private sector to impress them with your ability to create a second miracle économique. I didn't. Where is it gone? Oh, special purpose vehicle. Let's talk about the SPVs. I'm going to call this government SPV. Let us govern by SPV. Government SPV. You see, it doesn't even make sense actually. It doesn't even sound right. SPV. Because it's basically the government, tasteless. Lack of transparency. India has an accord with Seychelles, but Seychelles has the democratic might that I respect, that it has to go to parliament, to ask its parliament whether they agree with what is being agreed in a document with India. Chapeau. Here, you have the Honorable Minister Mento and the Honorable Prime Minister, but the good thing is that at least we can't say father and son are different. They're the same. Their understanding of what transparency is seriously, totally warped. Totally warped. And they believe, and I recall this very beautiful speech, I'll come to that in a minute, but let's talk about, when you look at this document, what is it? Pursuing our transformative journey. It's been transformed for members and relatives of the government side. Yes, oh, this has been transformed. Oh yes, economic miracle for some, for a few. And they have to wear orange ties. And then we're going to hang through that noose. and then, oh yes. Oh God, that's so intelligent, Honorable Jago. That, I mean, sorry, I just saw stars coming from your mind there. Stars. My God, stars. Oh. And, oh yes. At least I don't have to write a speech and read it.
Please.
Oh yes. Yeah. I mean, Pastor Djibé, on va t'aller après. And then,
Honorable Jago, I've called you several times. If you continue to ignore my remarks, then I'll have to take action.
It's all about both. A big one, a small one. Well, let's look at that page, page 400 of that thick book that was shared with us. Maybe some ministers did not even look at it. Or maybe they swear by it. It's called Government by SPV. And what it is? Metro Express Limited. All right. Projects under public entities. Maybe there aren't backbenchers, a few that are left there, that hopefully would try to build up the stamina and the strength to try to stand up and say they don't agree. Because out there, people are waiting for you. Metro Express Limited, National Water Development Company Limited, CEB Green Energy Limited, Landscope Limited, National Housing Company Limited, Mauritius Multisports Infrastructure Limited, SIC Development Limited. All this is put in this document for 2018-2019 estimates. What is it for? Construction of Metro Express, rehabilitation of farms, 26 kilometers old and defective pipes, solar Fuldag farms. Madam Speaker, even a building by Landscope of a new administrative tower. My God, is this such an emergency for our country? An administrative tower by Landscope for 329 million this year. Next year, 990 million. And the year later on, 376 million. Well, we really need an administrative tower for Landscope. 6,800 houses to be built in 2 years. SPV. Why go through an SPV? Why? Because it ensures that there's no transparency. You can't put questions then in Parliament and say where the funds came from, who is it being given to, is the best person getting that right to build or not build. Honorable Jahangir, whenever and for the short while that he had courage to even speak out, unfortunately it was very short-lived. God knows why. I do not know. But I feel sad that his courage is no longer there. I feel saddened that he is no longer that courageous anymore. I feel saddened that he is now not seeing what he used to see. I feel saddened that he laughs when this country is going to be indebted by more than 40 billion rupees through SPVs, Special Purpose Vehicles, pour la bonne et simple raison, Madame la Présidente, c'est parce que nous, à l'Assemblée nationale, on ne pourra pas alors poser des questions et demander comment cet argent des contribuables est dépensé. Et pour ajouter insult to injury, all this money here, can you imagine? Building a cancer hospital is also through an SPV? Building a cancer hospital is also through an SPV? Combien de commissions vous mangez là? Who are going to get commissions? Who are going to get the kickbacks? Who? How much? Who are the friends of power that are going to share the spoils of war? Fill up the war chest before an election, because that's the only way they can even contemplate winning. Building a cancer hospital with an SPV. And then, in fact, what are we doing here? It's a sham. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Speaker, today what we're here to do is just a sham. Because we're here in this document saying it's an estimate of 2018, 2019. If it is an estimate, why then do I see that the Republic of Mauritius has already issued requests for proposals for the selection of project management consultant for the construction of a new administrative building at Côte d'Or. Administrative building for Landscope at Côte d'Or. De 30 000 mètres carrés à 40 000 mètres carrés. What is, in God's name, are they going to stock or store in there? And it was done on the 29th of January 2018. I tabled this document. Why is it therefore, is it here, Landscope, in this budget, telling us what they're going to do as an estimate, but they're already having requests for proposals in January? But what's our role here today then? Just to act as rubber stamps? Is Parliament being insulted therefore? Things are being done in the back of Parliament? You all are here, we all are here, pretending that we're doing something important, but government has already decided to issue requests for proposals. And look at this one, February 2018, invitation for bids. Construction of 3 administrative buildings, 3 market fairs, design and build, turnkey basis, SIC development. Since when is the SIC development in building of what? Market fair, administrative buildings, SIC? Create another SPV, encore une fois, pour ce que le MSM va appeler la transparence et ce que le ML dirait carré dans lisier. I'll tell him what's in his eyes soon. I'll table another one. But then again, there's another one. This time for what? Rehabilitation works for La Ferme Farm. Again, another one started in April 2018. And another one, Eben Flyover. Eben Flyover, upgrade, construction of La Vigie Brasserie Link Road, going through an SPV. Again, and started out on the 7th of June 2018. What was the point, therefore, of this whole exercise today? C'était quoi? Pour remplir les temps? To fill up air? What's the point of having printed it in this document? What? All those, we were supposed to go and read it and object to it at committee stage and put questions? What for? When you've already sent tenders out and requests for bids out. What's the point? This is how Parliament is being insulted and degraded. But then again, that is the new methodology of MSM, and that is called the transformative journey. This is the transformative journey. Madam Speaker, we've heard Honorable Buddha talk about his, when you look at his manifesto that he stood by, defended, in there is a line, we will modernize Port Louis. We will create new infrastructure in Port Louis. 4 years on, les marchands ambulants are left to wither and die. Les marchands ambulants are left to wither and die and go away into the sunset, into the dust. They can't make a livelihood because it's though a shanty town has been created. That was never our intention, to have sticks, plastic covering, no exit in the case of fire, no toilet, proper toilet facilities, no cleaning facilities, and he expects Mauritians to go to that place to shop. But then what he's going to say? Because he's very comfortable with his friends from the private sector, concessions to develop Port Louis. Let's sell Port Louis once again. Where is the development? This Métro Léger, bridge to Codan, that he can spend money on. But what about accommodation for les marchands ambulants? Is it because the marchands ambulants de Port Louis, victims of this government, because they do not have the political support of people from Port Louis? Yes, it is. Because Port Louis does not recognize the MSM as a partner they can have trust in. Port Louis does not recognize MSM as a party they can even breathe comfortably in their presence. That is why the MSM have turned their back on Port Louis. Promises, promises, and empty promises. Nothing but promises. Let me, at this stage, talk about something else. Let me talk about something else. I recall the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister in this house, Honorable Colin Davelou. He was in this house, and he said that was an issue I had brought up about the need for pension for people who are married religiously, who become widows. I did raise this issue here, and he said the proposal contained in my question was deserving the most serious consideration. Et la raison pour laquelle je dis ça, c'est parce qu'il y a plusieurs femmes qui sont mariées religieusement, d'après les lois de notre pays, parce qu'il y avait un désordre qui avait été créé par Honorable Mento quand il était Premier ministre. Dieu sait pourquoi. Un désordre pas possible d'amendement au Civil Status Act, un désordre pas possible qui voulait abroger le Muslim Personal Law, qui voulait totalement insulter, en d'autres mots, une communauté, entre autres, il avait l'habitude, mais c'était choquant. Mais jusqu'à aujourd'hui, parce que, à cause de ce désordre irréfléchi, ou peut-être qu'il y avait d'autres idées en tête, je ne sais pas, je ne suis pas de son niveau pour pouvoir comprendre comment son esprit fonctionne, et j'aimerais pas, au fait, c'est maintenant, qu'est-ce qu'on arrive? Il y a des femmes qui sont veuves aujourd'hui, qui demandent, quand ils sont mariés depuis 1991, Honorable Abbas Mahmoud et moi, on en a parlé, Honorable Amir Mia, on a parlé de ça, qui sont mariés, qui ont droit, d'après notre code civil, à une pension. L'honorable Acting Prime Minister, then, Colin Davelou, disait que ce que j'avais dit était très, très intéressant. Il a fait faire un comité là-dessus. Rien. On the contrary, denied. A woman who sees her husband die, who has contributed to the Mauritius Meat Authority, contributed to the national pension, the national savings, who doesn't get a penny today. I have a letter here, pension denied because you're married religiously. But who is to blame for all that? Who is to blame for all that if not the MSM? Did the MSM think when they were amending the law that there would be consequences? 2018, he has a chance, Madam Speaker, still sitting there. At least correct the mistakes of the past. At least. Before anything happens that is irreparable. Correct the mistakes of the past to all those widows who can't even get a penny. And I have promises and empty promises from the acting Prime Minister here who said, yes, he would set up a committee, he would speak to the Prime Minister, nothing was done, and today you have widows who still don't have anything, and they have to go begging. Madam Speaker, let me talk about something which is of utmost importance again, and it is the financial services sector. The financial services sector, Madam Speaker, the financial services sector is in shambles. But before I go to the financial services sector, I wanted to talk about the fuel prices. What people out there don't understand, the members of this government are quite interesting as subjects to study, actually. Maybe down the road, there would be some people who would study members of this government and really come up with some interesting paper as to understand the psyche, because I fail to understand it. I mean, they expect everyone de leur donner les médailles. Pourquoi est-ce qu'ils veulent des médailles? Ils pensent qu'ils méritent des médailles parce qu'ils ont baissé à travers le budget, le prix de l'essence et du diesel et du gaz. So they increased it by 10%. And then they brought it down by 4.7%. And then they tell you, give me a medal. But why did you increase it in the first place? Why did you increase it by 10% in the first place? Why did you send Minister Ganga to the TV, NBC and radio? And even ministers from this government who will recognize themselves say, oh, well, you know, we have to be patriots. We have to accept the increase. Mais il n'y a pas de patriotisme maintenant? Or was it a lie? When the minister was saying, we have to be patriots and accept, there's no other choice. Government has decided that. Government agrees. We should increase 10%. Then, whoever was against that was an anti-patriot. When those who wanted to manifester contre cela, they were called into rapidly Central CID, taken to task. When someone had to put his disgust, shock, disdain against that measure on Facebook, called into CID. Let's basically get him scared. Shut him down. Get him scared. Ensure that there's no freedom of speech. But now, all of a sudden, was Honorable Ganga wrong? Was Cabinet wrong? Therefore, all this time that they took that money, should they not refund it? Tout l'argent, l'argent que vous avez pris pendant qu'il y avait l'augmentation, personne ne pense de rembourser la population pour ça? Et ce qui me choque encore plus, et je le dis en français, je le lis en français au fait, laissez-moi le lire en français. L'opacité de la STC est liée à un secret bien gardé. Des années durant, les membres de l'opposition ont demandé des détails concernant les différentes conditions de ce contrat. Mais jusqu'à ce jour, on n'a pas eu un minimum de détails pour nous expliquer comment on est en train de faire des économies. Et pourtant, le précédent ministre du Commerce ainsi que l'actuel ministre du Business avaient pris des engagements fermes dans cette Chambre pour rendre publiques les modalités de cet accord en déposant. Ils avaient promis de déposer une copie sur la table de l'Assemblée nationale et à ce jour, toujours rien. Those are not my words, actually. Those are the words of Honorable Pravin Jagnnath. In those days, Honorable Pravin Jagnnath pronounced this speech on a motion of the leader of the opposition, as he was then Honorable Béranger. And Honorable Pravin Jagnnath pronounced those words, those very important words that will go down in history as being a blip. Because it doesn't make sense, actually. That's what I mean. Let's study them and understand what exactly is going on here. That's why people out there are totally disgusted and fed up and say that politicians are hypocrites. In 2009, that was fine to say that the STC, il n'y avait pas de transparence. It was totally fine to say that il fallait déposer le document et l'accord de Mangalore sur la table de l'Assemblée nationale. Il fallait le dire qu'il y avait opacité. En 2009, c'est bon. C'est bon. Et quand il vient dire plus tard, Monsieur le Président, concernant l'assurance, il y a autant de questions qui sont jetées sans réponse en dépit de nos requêtes répétées pour que la STC joue la carte de la transparence. Transparence, il demandait en 2009, sur le même accord, le même document. Il demandait les mêmes choses. Quel est le prix de l'essence? Quel est le prix du fret? Quel est le prix de l'assurance? He wanted a breakdown. Quels sont les coûts réels associés aux marges du fournisseur, du fret, de l'assurance? Et moi, j'ai été étonné de constater que le fret a diminué de 70%, de $50 à $15. J'étais en train d'écouter avec attention l'explication de l'honorable. Those are not my words. Those are the words. And if you listen to those words, it could be exactly the words of us today. And that is why people will say, but wait a minute. When you're in the opposition, you say something. When you're in government, you say something else. And that would apply to us as well. Because I'm honest enough to admit, because it would apply to us as well. Because day in, day out, when we were in government, whenever the opposition said something, I accept we were wrong. We were wrong to treat them with disdain. We were wrong not to respect democracy. They have the right to put questions. And if it had meant that we had to lose elections for me to admit it, so be it. It was a great loss. And a loss that we deserved. Because this is what it's done. To show us that when you're on the other side, hypocrisy can't go on. In 2018, Pravin Jagnnath, Prime Minister of this country, how can he now say that what he said then is not correct? How is it that when the Honorable Leader of the Opposition tries to table a document, la transparence, Why did he not stand up and say he has no objection? Because it is exactly what he believes in. Or is it that he does not believe in anything? He just believes to suit the time that he is and where he is. As long as he is at an advantage. His party is at an advantage. His political agents are at an advantage. But not the country. What about the country? Who cares about the country? This stays. And let it also stay that we take the pledge. Never again, when we are back in power, will we ever behave in such a way, because it is shameful. Shameful if we behave in this way again. We owe it to the people of this country to be of a better behavior towards the opposition and towards the people. And when we pledge something, we mean we pledge. And if we are to talk about Honorable Sinatambou, mon Dieu, si on regarde les discours qu'il prononçait lui en 2006, et qu'il disait, Monsieur Ramassitanen, superstar. C'était ça son discours. Quand il prononçait pour le Appropriation Bill, il disait, le Ramassitanen, c'est un superstar. You see, and now he says that whatever we have done till 2005 is nil. Does that really include the time when he was minister? What about Honorable Jumai? When he was in opposition here, he was sitting somewhere here, or maybe he's forgotten. He made a speech in 2015 criticizing the other government. Today he says, whatever the other government has done is perfect. Ever since 2015. So whatever I said before then, just basically delete. Honorable Jumai said, you know what, I was wrong. I was under stress. And now I take my head down and bow to you, Honorable Pravin Jagnnath, because you are the king. And I am going to be, and he hopes, the kingmaker after I've eliminated Sudan. And Honorable Le Zonga, you know, the two donneurs de leçons là, les donneurs de leçons. Quand on regarde les discours qu'ils ont prononcés, même Honorable Le Zonga, il critiquait le gouvernement de Pravin Jagnnath, mais au moins, lui, il a eu le courage de venir dire que même quand il était dans l'opposition, s'il trouvait des éléments qui étaient bons, il le disait. Et il félicitait le gouvernement de Jagnnath. Mais au moins, il a eu le courage de dire, bon, je vois ça c'est bon, ça c'est pas bon. Et j'apprécie. Fair enough. Mais, Honorable Jumai, ah non. And then he comes to tell me that I will benefit from supposedly marketing the idea of government. Someone who was elected under the votes of the Labour Party and MMM. Someone who doesn't understand what loyalty means. Someone who's decided to go and jump ship. And oh, by the way, there is another line in the manifesto of Le Peuple. We are going to clamp down on transfugisme. How did they manage to evade that trap? You have to be very able in order to be able to evade that trap and get away. Je suis le transfuge, mais avant qu'ils ont réalisé ce que ça veut dire transfugisme, j'évade, je me retrouve là-bas. Oh, c'est bon maintenant. And he has the goal to come and stand here and say that I will benefit from it. I'll benefit from what? From your blunder? But there's one thing I can say, Madam Speaker. I was once with the MSM. I was once there. And I'm still proud of the time that I did there. Because I learned a lot from them. And I will not criticize those I was with because they were my friends and will always remain friends. I may not agree with them, but they're not my enemies. That's the difference. Because when they don't agree with someone, they crush you, finish you, try to imprison you, and try to ensure that you don't have a right to believe otherwise and have another opinion. This is the MSM today. But I was there. Those friends, I will not behave and go down what they've done. But for one thing, I am not a traitor. I am loyal. I may not agree, but it doesn't mean we're enemies. And I will not come and criticize Dr. Jumai because of what he said against me. On the contrary, I think he's been a very good friend of mine, but he even helped me get a ticket last time. And I recognize that. He knows that. But then again, there is those who speak the truth and are constant, and there are those who basically try to evade the rat trap. And then they try to pretend what they're not actually. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You have that in life, it happens. Anyway, in English I would have said something else that would have been unparliamentary on my part. Anyhow, let me talk about something else which is of utmost importance. There are two issues, and then I'm going to be done. Honorable Dayal, that's someone else. Honorable Dayal, yesterday, I was home watching TV because I was preparing my speech. And then my son, the eldest one, I'm always with him. And basically he said, why is he screaming? And I said, who? And he said, that man. And he's 8 years old. And he said, is he a police officer? My son of 8 years old already knew he was a police officer. He was 8. And basically he thought, Honorable Dayal, that he was a lawyer coming to use Parliament to come and defend himself for having obtained 15 million rupees. This is unheard of. Using Parliament to come and defend oneself. I mean, the least you could do is basically say, well, let me take permission of the chair because I'm going to declare my interest. But no. He was submitting as a lawyer, putting documents in, putting documents out. But then again, let me tell him one thing. As far as I'm concerned, I put in a motion, and I'm waiting for the motion to come up. And then, even when the motion comes up, we're going to have a field day with him. Because we're going to really make him understand what a judgment is and what state proceedings mean. What 2 years exactly means as a time limitation. Why is it that in all other cases the government takes the point and the defense? You cannot prosecute after 2 years. But for Dayal, koi baat nahi. Dayal hai, Dayalu. Doesn't matter. And then you say, before I go on to that, people will say, I've talked about those expression of interest and those grants obtained from India. Let's understand one thing. Easily they will go outside because I know how crooked minds work. I know what crooked minds work because I've basically been victim of those crooked minds. They're going to say outside there, Shakeel Mohamed is bashing India. Honorable Bulel is bashing India. Let me make it clear. I am only a second generation Indian. My grandfather was Indian. I feel in my bones that I am Indian. However, I am a proud Mauritian and I am going to always to fight for the sovereignty of my country. My origins don't make a difference. We will not beg. We will not go down in history as beggars and try to score political points just because, Shakeel Mohamed, I've got family still in Calcutta. I can speak Hindi. I can also understand Bhojpuri and I speak Urdu. So many of those who tried the finger at me, maybe they should go and sit on the benches of the baitkas or the madrasas and start learning Hindi and Urdu first before coming to even criticize me as far as my love for India is concerned. I think I've done with that. Now, because everything is a communal issue with them. Anyway, as far as the EDB is concerned, let me just say that quickly, the EDB. 7 members of that board, 7 members are from the private sector. Where is the element of ethics? You have Mr. Cartier from EDB. Mr. Cartier, who is with Accenture. And when you look at Mr. Cartier, Accenture website today, just before I came in. What is it talking about? Artificial intelligence, the latest economic superpower. It's talking about blockchain. It's talking about fintech. He is the head of EDB, but he is also at Accenture. Who will have confidence in Mr. Cartier? If Mr. Cartier is at the head there, who will have the confidence in sending projects? Who will have the confidence in telling them this is the idea I have? It may be rejected, it may be copied, it may be stolen. Who will have that confidence? Where is the ethics? Where is the transparency? Where is the honesty in intent? Where is the honesty in approach? I don't see it. And then let me ask one thing about passports. Passports? There was one company that came to Mauritius and met with the representatives of EDB. That company was called Henley and Partners. Henley and Partners is a multi-million-dollar company, global network. In many countries in the world, they sell passports. They came to Mauritius, met with Mr. Cartier. They came to Mauritius, met with Mr. Padachi of the Bank of Mauritius. They came to Mauritius, met with the representatives of Prime Minister's office. And who is Henley and Partners? Let me just now tell you who they are. The chosen one. The ones that the government have. They've shaken hands with the devil. They've shaken hands and tried to have a pact with a company that will bring Mauritius down disrepute. Let's look at it. Henley and Partners. are they a center of a number of financial and political allegations of impropriety. Let me go straight to the one thing. Who has forgotten about the murdered journalists in Malta? Who has forgotten about the murdered Maltese journalist who was investigating Ireland's golden visas in Malta? Who has forgotten about Daphne Caruana Galizia, who was blown up in her vehicle because she was investigating the Prime Minister of Malta, who was allegedly obtained kickbacks from passports? And who were the people, the company was involved in this whole matter of selling of passports? Henley and Partners, the friends of this actual government. Just how they befriend people of very dubious characters like Mr. Alvaro. Did Mr. Kolendavelu look at Mr. Henley and Partners CEO in the eyes again? Did he see whether they had the ability to blow up a car? They are being investigated by Malta. They are being investigated by the European Union. There is a parliamentary select committee that has been set up investigating another company called Cambridge Analytica that is connected with Henley and Partners. And another article I'm reading here that's entitled, "Was it not in November that the Prime Minister of Malta's Chief of Staff instructed Henley and Partner to threaten to ruin someone financially by suing him in the London court simply because he was investigating?" How about the FBI investigating the acts and doings of Henley and Partners? How about authorities in Malta seizing control of a bank called Pilatus Bank, connected with Cambridge Analytica, connected with Henley and Partners, connected to an Iranian over an alleged 115 million sanction evasion scheme, who is in turn connected to the Blood Diamonds dictator's son, none other than Jose Eduardo dos Santos. Henley and Partners. Selling passports in Grenada, even a diplomatic passport. And those are the friends that the EDB have met. Gala Milao. Let's take them in our arms, and then Gale Milao, and then take them by the throat as well. Who are those people that the government are telling us to deal with? I have no issues if government says through an investment migration mechanism, someone is going to have a passport. But who is going to verify who that person is? Does our island have a proper mechanism for verification and compliance? Does our island have a proper means of verification? No, it doesn't. It doesn't even have that, Madam Speaker. They check on Google. And this is what ministers have said here. I Googled him. And I said Alvaro is fine. I looked at him in the eyes. Good. Clean. Henley and Partners are involved in dangerous activity. With Blood Diamond's president's son, with killing of a journalist in Malta, with a blowing up of a car in the midst of an investigation about selling of passports by the government of Malta. Henley and Partners are the advisors of the government of Mauritius, and Henley and Partners have met with people from the Bank of Mauritius and the EDB and the Prime Minister's office. Tell them to tell me no, and I will show them that they have. This is what my message is to this government. They do not learn from their lessons, and then they talk about something else. Pilatus Bank. Look at this. Let's look at this. Pilatus Bank. Pilatus Bank and Henley and Partners. Member of Parliament in the United Kingdom linking them. And then they come and tell us everything is fine, nothing is wrong. Madam Speaker, what about all this news we've been reading recently about in the newspaper about another scandal happening? The scandal about a Kenyan group and the State Bank of Mauritius. How about that one? No one has forgotten about it? Everyone has forgotten about the State Bank of Mauritius scandal? Everyone has forgotten about the issue about the State Bank and the two letters, facility letters. Let me give details now. 3.5 billion potential hole in State Bank. Minister of Finance doesn't talk about it. Let's cover that up. Or let's pretend it's not there because we won't talk about it. Pabari Group, let's not talk about it. The Bank of Mauritius has asked that there be investigation. Ernst & Young has been asked to look into the malfeasance there. Doesn't the Minister of Finance have to come up with a statement? No. Doesn't he have to reassure the banking sector and the financial services sector? Oh no. But therefore, if we are going to take things à la légère comme cela, tellement, who cares? Who cares? Then let's read about this. What about the 3.5 billion and 4 members from the State Bank going on holidays invited by this very Pabari group to the wedding of the princess? Let's go to hotel. Let's go popom. Who cares? 3.5 billion, who cares? But what's worse is the facility letter. I read that in the press. You know what the facility letter says? On the 2nd of February 2018, the Board Credit Committee of State Bank, at the request of customer, a lien on deposit of 10 million, it's written there on that document, shall not be mentioned on the offer letter for the invoice discounting limit. And listen to that. A separate addendum mentioning lien on deposit as security will be issued together with the full offer. On the same date, le 2 février, le même jour, le client donne les instructions that a separate addendum mentioning lien on deposit as security will be issued. Therefore, 2 different issues. Hiding the information from the Kenyan authorities. Hiding information as to how much money the group has in Mauritius. This is not tax evasion? Who are those who are connected to the MSM who are in State Bank being protected at the moment? How is it that for Brahma Bank, the Honorable Minister Mentor was so proud to even accuse wrongly Brahma Bank? And today, he's sitting here, Minister Mentor, in charge of the police, his friend, the commissioner. Good boy and good man. And he's going to sit there together with the Prime Minister, with his friends in the State Bank and the friends in the Financial Services Commission, and the Bank of Mauritius, Mr. Parti. Oh yes, that one, Mr. Parti. And those guys, they are not going to be suspended. No one suspended. No one has been suspended, not even for 1 second at the State Bank of Mauritius. Is this le sérieux que le gouvernement veut démontrer à la communauté internationale pour protéger nos acquis dans le secteur bancaire et financier? And what about this recent one? Another one. And then they go, I know everything is fine. What about, Madam Speaker, the situation with NMH, New Mauritius Hotels? On commence avec NMH, avec un communiqué that starts last year. The communiqué starts le 20 février, that there is nothing wrong. Then you're going to have the communiqué that says we're going to appoint Mr. Kriti Takodas, and then the report is published. I was sent a copy of the report anonymously. I saw what the report contained. The report condemned the acts and doings of New Mauritius Hotels. In other words, was a certificate d'incompétence for the Financial Services Commission. But what happened? What happened instead? Instead of, it was a draft report, they could have asked Mr. Takodas to finalize the report. No, they did not ask Mr. Takodas to finalize the report. What they did instead was to issue another communique. Let us reassure the community at large, the international community, about the power and ability of the Financial Services Commission to protect our financial services sector. And it says, having given due consideration to all material circumstances, and in line with its object to ensure the stability of the financial system in Mauritius, the Commission is of the view that no further regulatory action is required. Le 10 novembre 2017. I read the report. I saw the report condemn NMH. I saw the report refer to statute, refer to the law, and I know what the law is with regards to this breach of rules. The Stock Exchange Commission keeps quiet. The Financial Services Commission keeps quiet. They issue a report They cover up the report. They don't ask him to finalize it. And all of a sudden, the Financial Services Commission says, oh, we'll not go ahead. And then we have the démission sur démission. 4 personnes de la of the board, of the FSC resigned, including the Solicitor General. And I say it out loud, they resigned because pressure was being placed upon them by certain members of government in order to satisfy their desires for NMS and their love for Mr. Sobrino. That is the reason why they had to resign. And then they talk about the need, there's no need to come and reassure the international community. None whatsoever. Isn't it important for the Prime Minister to come and mention it, at least? No, nothing. But let me say something else. The Financial Services Commission, there is another scandal. Oh, let's not finish with the scandals. Mauritius again. The day before he presented his budget, the DPP of Kenya talked about the Ruaraka land scandal. The DPP of Kenya, Mr. Noordin Haji, stated in a press conference that 1.5 billion Kenyan shillings have been stolen from Kenya in the financial scandal. That is equivalent to approximately 5 billion rupees. And where is the money? In his press conference, he says that the money is lost and it has been traced by the Kenyan government to a Mauritian bank. Which bank? And all of a sudden, we don't see who has to be protected, who is being protected, where is the confidence that you give the authorities and the community in our banking financial sector? But you won't hear the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance talk about that. You won't hear him talk about that. Why is it? Because he did not know? Or wasn't it important to let people know? Or was it important to cover it up? What is it? So, let me say, as far as the financial services sector is concerned, compliance, very important. Financial crime, we have to fight it. Anti-money laundering, we have to really go strong on it. There is clearly in Mauritius, Madam Speaker, a lack of competence when it comes to due diligence. There needs to be one regulator for everything that has to do with financial services and banking services. Right now, it is any non-deposit taking institution is the FSC. Any deposit taking institution is the Bank of Mauritius. Going forward, there needs to be one regulator to streamline the process. And we have to ensure that we don't take friends and political nominees in places of such an institution because they have to serve the country, whatever the government or whichever the political party which is in power. We have to choose the best people, not those who are in love with one political party and who have to wear an orange shirt in order to get promoted. Well, I don't know if there were more than that orange somewhere else, but I don't see it. But the FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, why is there in England there's one? In Mauritius there's two. Why is it in the Hong Kong Monetary Authority there's one? In Mauritius there's two. Who will carry out due diligence of sale of passports, Madam Speaker? Who? The Prime Minister's advisor, who has to deal with Boskalis? He's going to look, or is it going to the Honorable Colin Davelu, who's going to have an eye test? Everyone wants a passport. Let's go and see Colin Davelu and have an eye test. Or EDB, Mr. Cartier. What about the common reporting standards? Compliance is a basis of everything. Madam Speaker, whenever we have a jurisdiction that wants good clients, we have to ensure that there is good practice and compliance. If there is good practice and compliance, you bring good clients. And the reverse is also true. If there isn't good practice, as is the case in Mauritius right now with this government in power, you're going to bring bad clients. That's why you have the style of Sobrino. Madam Speaker, let me basically talk about a very important element, which is, and I'll finish on that, it's the following. What do we want our country to be like? What type of country do we want? And this is what people are asking. Day in and day out, we're going to come to this parliament and listen to a Minister of Finance come up with a budget once a year, and he's going to pretend to make some people happy, when in actual fact, it's not true at all that 60,000 people are going to be able to pay less, 18,000 rupees less tax. It's not true. It's impossible, because then you have to put yourself one question. How many single people are there in Mauritius who earn 50,000 rupees or above. How many? 50,000 rupees or above. No, actually, it's 50,000 maximum. Maximum 50,000 rupees, who have no children and no dependents, and who will basically not have any exemptions that they are allowed by statute, and who will have to pay 18,000 rupees tax. It doesn't make sense. None whatsoever. It does not make sense. What I asked the Prime Minister to do is to give us his exact figures. How many taxpayers fall in that bracket? He says 60,000 based on what? Impossible. Impossible. What he is saying, ce n'est pas vrai. Ce que le Premier ministre et le ministre des Finances dit quand il y aura 60 000 personnes qui vont bénéficier d'une réduction d'impôt de 18 000 roupies par an, ce n'est pas vrai. Ce n'est simplement que de l'enfumage. I love that word. Oh yes, I love that word. But then again, people don't like being enfumé. They don't like being fooled. It's easy to just pretend things are right. Don't we want a clean country? Our country is dirty. The Minister of Environment is here, and he pretends he's doing a great job. This country is a mess. It's dirt. People throwing rubbish everywhere. Other members before me have said it. Why not have one day a month as a national cleaning day for everyone? Why don't have one day a month where all of us would pull up our sleeves, put down our gloves, forget about work, and take care of our country, the land and the air we breathe, the land we live on, the land we were born in, the land we will be buried in. Why don't we take care of our country one day in a month? Why is it that we don't take care of our country? Why is it that we are only concerned about listening to the fallacies of this government? When will be the day when people will be able to understand que la moralisation de la vie publique est importante? When do we understand that? Do we have to go down the crooked way of thinking of certain people, including Honorable Colin Davelou, that says, mais c'est normal de nommer des gens qui sont proches de nous? No. Madam Speaker, I think people outside are fed up. And I'm not saying only with government. People outside are fed up with politicians. Because politicians have a bad name. Because politicians, including, I'm a politician, they don't have confidence in us anymore. Because they expected this government to really do things, miracles, that they had promised, as I'd explained. But they've done nothing of the sort. They expected that the politicians that they were ruling them since 2015 would not lie and have a different way of ruling. They have not done that. Out there, the youth, they want to believe that they still can dream of something better. So for all the wrongs we are doing to these people, we should apologize. Because what this government has done is not a long-term solution pour la survie de l'île Maurice. The debt, Madam Speaker, is shocking. I remember campaigning in 2005 and blaming the MSM-MMM for a debt of 100,000 rupees per head, on each head. We went around in Souillac, I remember, dans numéro 13, saying, où est-ce chacun dans 100 000 rupees de dette là où la tête. Today, it's above 70% of public debt. It's more than 400,000 rupees. Chaque Mauricien est endetté par 400 000 roupies par tête d'habitant. Chaque Mauricien, avant même qu'il y naît, 400,000 rupees. And this is us telling you that I'm wrong, I'm right. We have an ego issue. And all of us are forgetting about the country. When will be the time when we will put country first and party last? And then, and only then, that we will start regaining respect on the part of the population. Thank you very much.
I suspend the sitting for half an hour.